So what is going on YouTube? I don't know how much I'm gonna continue this series. Maybe if it does well, I'll keep going. I got this idea from like every sealed only challenge that's happened. A lot of people are using pretty competitive decks, trying to make them as competitive as possible. I'm planning on trying to do a sealed only with the Blue Eyes structure deck. I got the idea when I was watching Sam's video. He used one of these with Jesse and a couple of the newest Blue Eyes stuff that came out. My sealed only is going to be a bit different, kind of like Pox, where I'll start with the 3 structure decks, but instead of buying like all exclusively sealed product, I may buy some here and there, but try to limit what I have, maybe add to it from time to time. I also plan on, if I don't buy the sealed stuff, I might buy some singles here and there and kind of see where it goes from there. I plan on taking this to my locals on Saturday. Today is currently Thursday, so this will probably be episode 1, maybe episode 1.5 will be my adventures at locals with just these 3. Probably not going to do too well because a lot of people there play current meta stuff as of February 2021, like Drytron, Virtual World, Zoo Outlich, bunch of different Outlich variants, a couple Adamancipator, all sorts of stuff, but it's a pretty wide variety. I mean, there's some people that play Sacred Beast, stuff like that. So some competitive, some a little bit more casual. So I'm gonna try to make this older structure deck as competitive as possible and see if maybe I can't win a couple tournaments, see where the Yu-Gi-Oh scene goes in 2021, maybe do like some remote duels or whatever when I get a better setup. Just kind of pick the stand that I have for my phone up recently. Might try to get a better one, kind of see how this goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and time-lapse this video, kind of crack these open, all 3 of them, then I'll go through kind of the card by card in one of them, then I'll show me kind of building this deck. Alrighty, I decided to stop the time-lapse just so I can show off my Sniff Gang membership with Team Sam. Only $2. You guys should definitely sign up if you are not, but you know, you can't be a member of the Sniff Gang if you don't sniff open a freshly cracked pack. They definitely need to make that into a candle or something. Alrighty. So I will start out with the card by card. I just bought 3 of these. So we have 1 copy of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, 1 copy of Azure Eyes. It is the only extra deck monster that this deck comes with. 1 copy of Maiden with Eyes of Blue, 1 Dragon Shrine, Rabid Dragon, 1 Alexandrite Dragon, Luster Dragon. I definitely remember when this card was kind of a staple in almost every deck. 1 Flamebill Guard. Shout out to Dragon Rulers. 1 Dark Storm Dragon, 1 Mirage Dragon, 1 Divine Dragon, Acropith, no idea how to say that name, 1 Whitestone, 1 Kaibaman, 1 Herald of Creation, 1 Kaiser Seahorse, 1 copy of Honest, 2 copies of Shining Angel, 1 Burst Stream of Destruction, 1 Stamping Destruction, should probably put these with the other spells, 1 A Wingbeat of Giant Dragon, 1 Trade It, 1 Cards of Consonance, 1 copy of White Elephant's Gift, 1 copy of 1 for 1, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, that's nice, a single copy of Dragon's Tactics, copy of Soul Exchange, copy of Enemy Controller, and on to our trap cards. See if I can slide these over. I have 1 Fiendish Chain, 1 Kunai with Chain, 1... Alrighty, sorry, my video cut out there for a second. 1 Damage Condenser, 1 copy of Call of the Hawk, 1 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 1 Champion's Vigilance, so unique, one copy of Rider of the Stormwinds, one Kaiser Glider, one Heretic Dragon Tap, one Silver's Cry, one Swords of Revealing Light, and one Castle of Dragon Souls, plus some Duel Links cards. So I will kind of get into the deck building. I'll time lapse the whole thing. I'll explain some of my card choices once I get it broken down, and I'll kind of go a little bit more in depth with why I picked them, what the cards do, all that good stuff from here. Alright, what is going on, guys? I am back. Took a little longer. A lot of times, kind of when deck building, I try to think of what this can compare to. Blue Eyes is typically a very aggressive deck, but kind of with the cards that this structured deck came with and kind of how things are going in the meta deck, I kind of wanted to go a little bit more of a controlled build. A little bit more trap heavy, and just kind of almost try to win the grind game a little bit, similar to like Trap Shaddolls or Outlich or whatever. I mean, I'm not going to be able to compete with those realistically with this, but may surprise, take a game or two, and progressively, I may see what direction I'd prefer going in this particular build. I'll get sleeves and stuff like that kind of over the course of this challenge. I am setting a budget for myself of just $15 per week for these, and I will try to attend as many locals as possible. Get some ideas, spitfire off of people where they think I should try to go, what product I should get, and if you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. So yeah, let's kick things off. I got triple copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. It is the heart and soul of this deck, obviously. Any Blue Eyes deck, no real reason to explain that. 3 copies of Maiden with Eyes of Blue. Again, I know it is a sealed only type challenge, so obviously you want to try to play 3 of these cards, but actually this particular card is the reason why I decided to go with this sealed product as opposed to any others, because this particular card is whenever this card is targeted for an attack, or just targeted, I believe, in general, you can summon a Blue Eyes from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Yeah, so if it is targeted for an attack, you can change its defense position and special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. And then during either player's turn, it is a quick effect. When a card or effect is activated that targets this face-up card, except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can only use 1 effect of Maiden with Eyes of Blue per turn. So it is a semi-difficult card to kind of out without, giving your opponent the Blue Eyes, which, a lot of cards out there really don't care if you get the Blue Eyes, but, if you got enough back row, giving you a 3,000 attack normal monster could be kind of detrimental. And I'm going to try to continue with the sealed only, kind of keeping these cards in the at this ratio the entire time. That is kind of where I'm wanting to go with this. I'm not looking for the most OTK possible deck. I mean, it'd be nice if it had follow-up. If they don't get rid of this, then you are getting OTK'd, but we'll see where it goes. So 3 of the dragon, cyber dragon, I guess you can call it. Basically, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand, exactly like cyber dragon. That is essentially the reason why I'm playing it. It has the potential of summoning, Blue Eyes from your deck, so if you need to get into your Azure Eyes just for more control, which I'll get into that later, you definitely can, so never a bad card to play. 3 copies of the White Stone of Legend. Again, this is actually a very good card to come in here. I think this was the first structure deck that came with this card. And I know there's other Blue Eye structure decks that came out. Maybe I will buy 1 or 2 of them at some point and kind of add to this. But very glad that it came with this particular tuner. Cards of Consonance OG and all. I am only playing 2 copies of the Rider of the Stormwinds. I was really debating on 3, but it would have been my 41st card, and I'm kind of playing draw power. I really like this card. You can target a dragon-type monster you control, equip the monster with this card. If the monster attacks a defense position monster, it inflicts piercing to your opponent. If the equipped monster would be destroyed, you can destroy this instead. So it kind of gives a little bit of protection to any dragon type monster, and it's like a pseudo hand trap. You know, maybe your opponent has like a Nibiru token or something in defense position. You know, if we ever get Nibiru, or they're just playing like if you're playing against dinos or something like that, and somehow, you know, they get the token. I don't know. I feel like it has potential. It has potential. And then 3 copies of the only real hand trap that you play. Honest. You know, OG hand trap. Shout out to Dark Honest, which is finally coming out eventually. But I really like this card. You know, I kind of wish this structure deck came with Effect Veiler. That'd be really nice. Triple Honest, triple Effect Veiler would be pretty neat. But, you know, Effect Veilers come out in a lot of structure decks, so who knows, maybe I'll pick one up here soon. And that will do it for my monster lineup. I will start off with the spell cards. For our spell cards, we are running 1-ups of Monster Reborn and 1-for-1. No need really to explain either of these. Monster Reborn obviously can special summon cards from either player's graveyard. So if somehow, you know, you did out your opponent's Dragoon or whatever, you can Monster Reborn and that their Dragoon becomes yours, which isn't actually impossible in this deck. If you have pretty much any light monster with Honest in your hand, you can get rid of Dragoon. So definitely not a instant game ender with Dragoon, although it is not the easiest card to out. But that's what the side deck's for, you know? And then 1-for-1, you know, get your tuners on the board, kind of get into your Zero Eyes, kind of start the grind game from there. And for your draw cards, I am only playing 2 copies of Cards of Consonance. I believe I only have, I don't really want to discard my Maiden, but I technically have 8 targets with it. But, you know, if you have to and you draw 2 Maidens, you can do it, and maybe Monster Reborn the Maiden or something. So I feel like, you know, keeping it at 2 is good, plus 2 copies of Trade-In. Only level 8 dragon type monster at the moment that I am playing is the Blue Eyes, but if you see this and one of my other cards that I will show you here in a little bit, you know, it is never a bad card to see. Plus it kind of gets rid of that bricky Blue Eyes, kind of refreshes your hand. So 2 copies of Trade-In. Next, I am playing a pseudo hand trap from back in the day. 3 copies of Enemy Controller. Always love this card. You can activate one of these effects, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, change it to defense position. Kind of sucks that it targets, but, you know, that could be a make or break thing in some decks. And then the better effect, you contribute 1 monster that you control, and then target a face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it. So, I mean, you can take your opponent's like Borreload, Savage, you know, whatever, just kind of a little bit of spot removal. Kind of a pseudo trap card that's really a spell card. Quick play if you need to kind of be aggressive. You can always do that. Change a token to attack position. You know, it depends on what you're really going for. Next up, 3 copies of Dragon Shrine. Probably one of the best cards that comes in the structure deck as well. You know, kind of plus up on your monster sending. Pretty much it's a Foolish Burial for any card that is in the deck, really, because they are all dragons. Kind of turns online your next card that I'm going to show you in your Silver's Cry. I'm playing double copies of Silver's Cry. I always kind of like this card. Can kind of surprise game your opponent. If you already have 1 Blue Eyes set up and you attack directly, then you flip the Silver's Cry and, you know, it's kind of GG from there. So double copies of Silver's Cry. Didn't want to play 3, thought about it, but you know, if you draw it and you don't have the Blue Eyes in graveyard, it definitely is a sad day. So next up for our trap lineup, I am playing 3 copies of Fiendish Chain. I actually have always liked Fiendish Chain, and this is actually another reason why I was picking up this structure deck. Fiendish Chain, the kind of original Phantom Knight continuous trap card. You can activate this card by targeting one effect monster on the field, so it does in fact work with your own Maiden, which is nice. You can target your own cards if you need to. Its effects are negated, but the targeting happens first, and it cannot attack, which doesn't really matter. You're not attacking with a 0 attack Maiden anyway, but you can also kind of slow your opponent's plays down, definitely. And then when that card is destroyed, you destroy your own Fiendish Chain as well. So kind of an old school card that is definitely not a bad control card. Triple copies of Compulse. For some reason, I remember this structure deck coming with Torrential Tribute, but it did not, alas. But Compulse is still a very good spot removal card. A lot of times, you know, if you're playing Virtual World and they only have one name, you can kind of get rid of that. Or if you're playing against zoos and they just normal summon their zoo and don't really see their Eldritch lineup, or if they're just not playing the Eldritch lineup, you can kind of get rid of that card. So, last up, I am playing triple copies of Call of the Haunted. Call of the Haunted, you know, another pseudo Monster Reborn. You can get back your Maiden. Start the control plays again. Maiden is a fairly hard card for a lot of decks to out. I mean, Call of the Haunted is a way to out Maiden, but, you know, then you basically kind of trade the Call of the Haunted for one of their cards. So, definitely a fairly good trade. Could always bring back the Azure Eyes, you know, whatever you need to do. But that will do it for the main deck. Off to the extra deck, you know, the only card that comes in the extra deck, 3 copies of Azure Eyes. So a lot of people don't realize that there are restrictions on how you can even bring this card out. You need to have 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner normal monsters. You cannot use any level 8 monster. It needs to be a normal monster to get this card out. That is why a lot of people, you know, play other ways of getting into this card in particular, which the next product I'm planning on getting is definitely a lot of extra deck cards, some singles, just to keep this deck as competitive as possible, and then kind of focus on some of the cheaper spell and trap cards and go from there. But yeah, when this card is special summoned, dragon type monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. So that is any time that this is special summoned. So if it's special summon off Call of the Haunted or Monster Reborn, it prevents their destruction until the end of the next turn. So at the end of your opponent's turn if you Monster Reborn it, or at the end of your turn if you use Call of the Haunted during your opponent's turn. It kind of protects them from target or destruction via card effects. And then once returned during your standby phase, so if you fire off the Call of the Haunted during your opponent's end phase, you can use this right away. You can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So you will be able to kind of recur your Blue Eyes White Dragon. A note, you can have more than 1 Azure Eyes on the field, kind of get your Blue Eyes plays rolling, tribute it maybe with a enemy controller, take control of your opponent's cards. Lots of different fun plays. And then off to the side deck, depending on what kind of matchup you're playing against, obviously. Triple copies of Swords of Revealing Light definitely slow the game down. If you're playing against a all gas, no brakes deck, 3 copies of Swords of Revealing Light can definitely hinder what they are trying to do. I know there's a lot of spell and trap removal, but you are playing a lot of different spell and traps that you can use. You could play this and maybe 1 extra trap card and maybe kind of bait out their Harpy's Feather Duster or whatever. Definitely not a bad card. And then 3 copies of Soul Exchange. You can target a monster your opponent controls, and then if you were to tribute summon this turn, you can use that monster to tribute. So it kind of pseudo kaiju. It is removal of your opponent's cards just by tributing, so you can get your dragon, cyber dragon thing, drawing a blank, heretic dragon thing out to tribute just 1 for 1 spot removal, or, you know, tribute summon your Blue Eyes, whatever. Anyway, on to spell and trap. removal, depending on your matchup. Stamping Destruction if you control a Dragon-type monster, which is any monster in your deck other than Honest. You can target one spell or trap card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to your controller. So for whatever reason, if you are able to grind, and it is in time, which back in the day, you know, these matchups did last a while with Maiden, and with the new time rule, inflicting 500 damage could very much win you the duel. And then you have a Winged Beat of Giant Dragon. Shout out to Tyrant Dragon. You can return one level 5 or higher Dragon-type monster you control to your hand. And if you do, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So, you know, this is pretty much your only way of mass wiping all spell and trap cards, since, you know, you don't have Lightning Storm or Harpy's Feather Duster or Twin Twister or anything like that. So, not the best side deck card, but you do have ways of ripping your Blue Eyes back out of your hand, or you can special summon the Hieratic Dragon, activate this, bounce it back to your hand, and wipe your opponent's spell and trap cards. And I'm not sure, I think... Yes, this effect is not once per turn. So you can bounce it back and then special summon it, kind of like a tiny alpha. And then 3 copies of your Solemn Judgment for Dragon-type cards. If you control level 7 or higher normal monster, aka Blue Eyes, when a monster would be summoned or a spell or trap card would be activated, negate the activation if you do destroy it. So it is your Solemn Judgment. Do not main... I chose to not main deck this card. I definitely thought about it, but the main reason is you don't always end on the Blue Eyes, and if you have Maiden and this card face down, sometimes it's not quite enough. But depending on the matchup, not quite enough may be just enough, you know? So that will do it for the extra deck, the main deck, and the side deck. There's not really much in the combo tutorial because it is a very heavy control deck, but my following video that I do right after this will be several duels that I do at my locals on Saturday. I will feature every single matchup, maybe do a little interview with some of my opponents, what they thought of the deck, what they key card that they think it is missing, that maybe I could try to pick up. I am also, if I do win any packs for whatever reason, or any of my sealed product that I don't use, like let's say I have some cards in my structure deck, sell for singles, any profit that I get off of that does count towards my $15 budget. So I will kind of go from there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the idea of the series. I know it's not an original idea, but maybe it's a deck that nobody's done before. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.